Hi boys and girls, this is Nona the Naturalist with Dana Wharf Whale Watching, and I wanted to continue our conversation from the last time. We made a double bubble thinking map where we looked at some of the characteristics of a gray whale and some of the characteristics of a mackerel, learning that the gray whale was a cetacean or a marine mammal and the mackerel was a kind of fish. And when we made this double bubble, we were able to say the characteristics that were unique to the gray whale or mammals, and the ones that were unique to the mackerel or fish. And in the middle, we had those things that they had shared in common. And at the end, I told you there were many other things we could have put on this chart. Well, today we're going to continue with one of those attributes that some of our cetaceans that live in the ocean have in common with some of the fish. And that attribute is called countershading. Now, countershading is a form of camouflage. It's a form of protective coloration that our cetaceans and our mammals have. But to understand why they have that, first we have to look a little bit at my very scientific diagram of the ocean here. And we're going to talk about some of the layers of the ocean. Now, for my older boys and girls, my challenge for you is to go online because you can learn that there's many more layers than what I will be mentioning, and you can learn some much more scientific terminology. But when we're talking about the open ocean, we're talking about the pelagic region. So here's our first vocabulary word, pelagic region. Now in this pelagic region, the sunlight shines down about 200 meters, or that would be the same as 656 feet. And that area where the sunlight can penetrate down into the ocean is known as the photozone. Sometimes it's called the sunlit or sunlight zone. And because we've talked about our gray whales being benthic feeders, I want to remind you that the bottom of the ocean is known as the benthic region. Again, boys and girls, I'm just dividing the ocean into three major areas. The area where the sunlight can shine through, the photozone, the open ocean, the pelagic zone, and the bottom area is the benthic. Now, I went ahead and wrote the word abyss because I know some of my scholars out there are thinking, but wait, Nona, there's big, deep trenches out in the ocean. Yes, that's called the abyss. Now, over here, I have an umbrella and I have the beach. This area is sometimes referred to as the tidal zone or the splash zone, and that's you this summer when you get to go back and be down on the beach. And we talk about the surface of the ocean. Boys and girls, that's you and me back on the Dana Pride this summer when we're out there looking for some of those whales that are going to come up and we can see them. I really look forward to seeing you there. But today we're going to go back and we're going to talk about countershading. And to do that, I'm going to quickly draw the external anatomy of a fish. Looky here. There you have it. We need to know some of this terminology so that we can talk about countershading. Now, the very top of a fish is known as the dorsal side. And you're going, oh, that's why that's the dorsal fin. Yes. So the top of an animal is the dorsal side. Did you know you have a dorsal side? Pretend you were down getting ready to go running. Your dorsal side is your back side. Now the bottom side is the ventral side. The front of an animal is known as the anterior end. And the back of an animal is the posterior. So there's 4 more vocabulary words for you. Today we are going to be talking about the dorsal side and the ventral side and how that helps some of our animals that live in the ocean, in the open ocean. So today I have another one of our mackerels with us. So if you look at the dorsal side of my mackerel, and here's its dorsal fins, look at this. A mackerel has an anterior dorsal fin and a posterior dorsal fin. And then there's the ventral side. Notice the difference? That's what countershading is all about. It's a form of camouflage, and it's used by both predators and prey 2 more vocabulary words. Boys and girls, you know what a predator is, don't you? That's an animal that hunts and kills its food. And prey, well, that's the meal. Our mackerel is both a predator as well as it can be prey. I'm going to open this mackerel's mouth. I'm left-handed. And you can see how big that mouth is. Did you know that mackerel like to feed on things like krill and shrimp and copepods? But they also can even catch squid and feed on them. That's why they have that big mouth. So a mackerel is a predator, but it can also be prey to some of our dolphins, and our whales love to eat the mackerel. So how does countershading help both a predator or a prey? Well, if you wanted to be a predator and sneak up on an animal, if you come underneath them, you're going to blend in with that benthic or ocean bottom. See how you can hardly see the mackerel because it blends in with the ocean floor. Now, if you see the bottom of it, that would be like if an animal was swimming underneath and it looked up. Look how this would help camouflage the mackerel because the light shining through the ocean makes it lighter at the top. So again, this is used both by predators and prey. It helps the predator sneak up on its prey, but it also helps the prey to protect itself and to be camouflaged in the ocean. And that term, again, boys and girls, is called countershading. Now, I prepared, there are so many cool videos online, but here's one, and we're just gonna look at for a minute, and it's using a great white shark. Watch how this great white shark, swimming through the ocean, exhibits countershading, dark on the top and light on the bottom. Now look how it can hide as something that's up above it won't even see that shark down there because it blends in with the ocean floor. But now if the shark is near the photo zone up at the top, again, it blends in because of that white bottom underneath. Okay, boys and girls, so that's our term for today, countershading. We also learned vocabulary of the photo zone, the pelagic zone, the benthic zone. We talked about predators and we talked about prey. We talked about the outside of an animal and referring to its position, the top being its dorsal side, the bottom ventral, anterior, posterior. Okay, wherever you are, stand up. We're going to get a little PE in today. As I say the word, I want you to point to it. So if I were to say dorsal, you're going to point to your back. If I say ventral, point to your stomach. If I say posterior, you can stoop over and touch your rear end. And if I say anterior, put your hands on your head. Here we go. Dorsal, anterior, posterior, ventral. Can you do it faster? Ventral, posterior, anterior, dorsal. Hey, I have a question for you to work on before I see you next time. Our state fish is the Garibaldi, and it is a beautifully colored bright orange fish. Why doesn't the Garibaldi exhibit countershading? That's your homework for tonight. I would love for you to send me your answers to office@danawharf.com. Attention, Nona the Naturalist. I want to see what you're learning at home about whales and dolphins and fish. So please send me a picture of something you're learning about. Have a good day, boys and girls. Bye-bye.